Hello, hello, YouTube. Hello again. So this is the third time today we are saying hello because we are trying to cover some Osiris League Season 6 action today. So we did the 3 UTC match, we did a couple of matches at 9 UTC, and now it's the big 2 games. So we got JST versus Atlantis Zoo, and then in Division 21, I think, we got OneV versus Fearless Warriors. Now, these 2 matches are not necessarily the closest matches out there at the 13 UTC time zone, but then why are we looking at covering them? Well, it's because JST and OneV definitely are the 2 of the best teams out there in terms of Osiris League, and we want to see them in action to see whether we can learn a little bit about them or their strategies and see whether they take the early stages just as seriously as they would the later stages. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take it seriously. Who have we got on the chat? P Min, who are we watching, or we don't know yet? Well, it's subject to where we can get in, because I think in the earlier streams I mentioned we are not whitelisted, so we don't know which match we can get in. So we're gonna click and let the magic happen and see which game we can get in. So we'll try to get into the JST match first, because I think it's a little bit closer in terms of power. Now JST 3.6, I think, I could be wrong, but I think last season they may have been a little bit more in power. So don't kind of know what happened there. So we want to see if JST is still the strong team it used to be. JST had a pretty tough KvK against 1846, so maybe that's where the power drop came in. And Atlantis Zoo 1016, they're 2.9 billion power, so they're pretty close. I mean, the power gap isn't that high, so JST has to put in a good show to win this match. They're probably going to win, but at least they have to play a proper match, I would assume. John R, Melbourne greater than Sydney. Sorry, Bunny and Ladus. Hey man, you put 2 contradicting sentences there. If Melbourne was better than Sydney, then Bunny and Ladus would be living in Melbourne, right? Just because Bunny and Ladus both live in Sydney, I think that makes Sydney greater than Melbourne. What do you say? Now, we got a couple minutes left before the match starts. Now, let's have a look at the what we got ourselves into at 15 UTC. So that's 2 hours left. And these are our opponents. So I'm part of the VC56 team, Victorious Cats. And we got Battle Bunnies. So this is not the, I guess, Bunnies team. They're just the Battle Bunnies. 2.8 billion power, not that far off again. I mean, well, actually now it looks pretty far because VC56 is 4.9 rather than the 3.6 we saw for JST, but at the same time, that doesn't mean VC56 is a better team. I'm pretty sure 1365 JST is a stronger team when it comes to Ark, just because they got the same guys playing for years after years, whereas VC56, we got a lot of good players, but we are all new to the team, so I don't know how well we will be gelling before the match kind of starts. But we'll see. That's 15 UTC. That's why we don't have a coverage of at 15 UTC, because I got my own match. John, nah, it doesn't work that way. Haha, you guys have baggage. Hey man, all we got in our baggage is our equipment from Rise of Kingdoms that we got. That's all we got in our baggage. Good luck for your match later, buddy. Deathstroke, hey man, thanks a lot for that. Good to see you on chat. I have been kind of hoping that you're gonna show up in chat sometime, and I think this is the first time I'm seeing you there. Good to have you here, man. So Deathstroke is from 2K, as in Kingdom 2000. They have a strong Osiris League team as well, so we wish them all the best as well. Now let's key Division Watch JST. We can get in. Yes, we can. We're the 4th guy getting in. All right, so I think we go through the animations, and beautiful animations that is, and 1365 with that special logo for becoming the champion couple seasons ago. So many familiar names here, guys. I play KvK with all these guys. That's to do with how I have my alt in JST, so a lot of familiar names, so there could be a little bit of partiality coming throughout the match as well, just because you just have to support your own KD. And then I don't know much about 10-16, but then they look like a strong team as well. Now, the first thing that we hope for is each team will show up with their full 30 players, which we didn't really have in the first couple of matches. So the 9 UTC match that we watched, we had 29 and 30, one person missing, and even that probably was 28, 27 throughout the match, and towards the end we had people coming in. So we have all the big cities porting in. Actually, we got all the cities porting in now. And let's look at the JST side. So for the next 1 minute, we learned that we can't click on anything. Look at that special special flag that JST has, the 3 stars from KvK, and that Osiris League icon on top. That's to do with being a Osiris League champion once. And you guys probably, if you follow Osiris League, you probably know a lot of these people here. Deathstroke, I migrated. I'm in Raise these days, and sorry, been busy sadly most of the time you stream. All good man, Raise. Okay, that's a strong KD as well, as in a strong Ark of Osiris team as well. Mango Zangbot all the way at the back. I would have thought Zangbot would have a place more forward. Donkey, that's a good buddy as well. Who else do I know here? Quite a lot of Korean names. So a lot of my friends are actually from 1365 are in actually BLN. They're more the English-speaking people. But then, yep, there's quite a few people that we know. Chef. Wait, who am I missing? There's few names that I thought would be there that we are missing. But anyways, 30 seconds to go. 30 seconds later, gates are gonna open. Now, we're gonna watch this match in a slightly different way than we watched the previous ones. In the previous ones, we were trying to kind of analyze what the teams were doing. We were trying to have a comment here and there about how they can improve their performance. When it's JST, obviously my knowledge is nowhere near how JST goes about Ark, their knowledge and their experience. So it's more about learnings, not just for me, myself, and you guys as well. 3, 2, and 1. So we are gonna primarily focus on JST in terms of what they do. Deathstroke, you smacked us last weekend, haha, but I think you were not on my lane. Yeah, we did play Raise last weekend. That was a good game. I forgot whether I was top or bottom. So I was in the same lane with Ronnie and Cactus and Baba, all those guys. 4 was in a different lane, so I don't know whether we matched up. I don't think we did, because I didn't see your name there either, man. Because if I saw your name, I would definitely remember. So we have all the matches coming out. Let's look at the starting rallies. So JST obviously doing the full 4 rallies they can. And on top of the 4 rallies, there's a outpost rally as well from the... Ooh, who was that from? That's from 1016. 1016 has an extra outpost rally, but other than that, it's the 4 rallies. So let's see who can occupy the buildings faster, and let's see who is using what march. So the T1 march is coming from JST. AB KvK using the caravans obviously to get a boost in terms of speed, and hard push being used by JST. Luca using the hard push, and obelisk capture. Actually 1016 did it a little bit. Did they do it a little bit faster? They did a little bit faster, but they didn't use hard push. Okay, so we see a little bit of a difference in strategy already. The blue team JST is using hard push. No, 16-0 now use the hard push. So they were a little late in pushing the hard push, but then because of that, even though they went to the obelisk faster, they're not capturing the obelisk faster. You're gonna see JST taking their obelisk faster, and that's for both obelisks. All right, and they got all the outposts as well, and the red team doesn't have one of their outposts yet. That's RoK. Yeah, I was against 4. Yeah, man, then you're playing in the other lane. That's why we didn't meet. Good game though. It was a pretty good game. Now we got as I was saying, in 1556, VZ56, we got a team that we are rebuilding. I mean, not rebuilding, newly building because of all the new migrants that came in. So we may not be as strong a team as our power suggests. Captain Jack, hi, just came. Hey man, good to have you here. So now the second thing we want to see in terms of all those rallies that we're going, what is JST doing? JST still has the 2 rallies to the enemy obelisks going. We are obviously pretty sure they're going to cancel it, but let's see whether they do. And then we're going to look at the buildings. Fallen, when are you playing? Hey man, our match is at 15 UTC. That's why we got no coverage for the 15 UTC match. Okay, Lucas T1 is going towards the obelisk. That's obviously not gonna take it. Hey Luca, Luca is giving us a ooh sign, and JST obviously will be wise to cancel the rally. I'm sure they they are not canceling. There's a Jadwiga in Garrison. Why you not canceling? Are you really gonna push John Doe with a Attila? So, by the way, guys, whether it be JST or OneV or any of the bigger teams, when they're playing Ark this early, as in the group stages, they're definitely not using their main strategy. So they're going to go for something that that's more experimental, because they want to save their real strategy for later on. So that I wouldn't see happening later on, as in letting the rally run till it actually hits the obelisk. Usually they would cancel and go for the desert altar. Now, are we going to see a pressure on the JST desert altar? No, JST has a lot of marches, so the red team can't push up to the desert altar. That's probably unrealistic. Now, the red team actually is doing something shocking. So they are about to take the JST outpost, but then there are marches, I mean not outpost, obelisk. Now there are some marches from JST here, so they should be able to keep the building. I'm sure they're not going to lose the obelisk at the start, and the other obelisk is kind of safe now. All right, let's look at the desert altars. That's where we're going to get most of action. So JST has a decent amount of presence there. Now, some teams choose to go for the Shrine of Life at the same time as well, and JST is one of those teams. So JST going for, on the left lane, they're definitely going for both buildings. So they took the Shrine of Life already from the enemy. Desert Altar they took from the enemy as well. Can they hold it? So one of the things what we want to see is how prepared is JST. Are they actually putting in proper garrisons in the buildings as well straight after taking it? Now, can someone hit? Someone's hitting, and I think that's an XY. Am I seeing it right, or is that an XY outside? I think that's an XY inside. Okay, so JST didn't manage to put a Jadwiga there, and this building is not under pressure, so we can't really check. So JST pushing in all the way. Now, one of the things I'm sure JST is trying to do is kill all of these marches here, because after the marches die, they need the marches to reset, because they took 2 buildings. So they definitely need to get their marches dead as fast as possible, because you don't want to go into middle with half-done marches. You want to go into middle with your full marches. Now, if your marches die, it goes back to your city. You still have enough time. Now, in terms of numbers, I just want to check again. Okay, well, thank God this is the first 30 versus 30 match, but look at that huge point per minute difference already. 790 points per minute for JST and only 160 for the red team, and JST has all the buildings. All right, so JST is definitely taking it seriously. The point difference, which wasn't that great, not point as in the power difference at the start, which wasn't really that much. 3.6 versus 2.9, I think, billion, the power difference of the 2 alliances. But then that's not how it looks in the match. JST definitely has a great deal of control. Other than that one random outpost that the red team has, it looks like JST is holding on to all the buildings, and it does look like they're gonna get all the occupations as well. Now, remember earlier how I was saying JST doesn't have a good garrison? Look at that. They managed to put an infantry there. So if it's full of infantry, then it's shocking already, because you just saw a Flavius, which means they managed to get infantry up there. Usually people get cavs, not infantry, because it's kind of hard to do. So JST must have done a good practice in terms of how to get infantry there. There's no pressure on the Shrine of Life, so we can't see what the garrison is. Now Red finally have managed to take one of their buildings, but then there's a one inside. They didn't manage to get a proper infantry garrison there, but this looks like they're still gonna hold. There's only one JST march. Is JST gathering at the middle already? Yes, JST is. Not that many marches yet, but we got marches coming from all over the place. We got our buddy Rolf going in there with a Trajan. Now I sincerely hope we get to... Ooh, there is so many blue marches coming in. Good timing from JST. This blue march is coming from all over the match. Now, what's Red gonna do? Are they gonna try to take their buildings, or they're gonna go for middle? Now, if they go for the buildings, they're probably gonna be too late for... They're probably gonna be too late for the middle. Now there's 4 marches going in. We are going to check what the defense is. Now what I was trying to say earlier, didn't get to finish my sentence, is we sincerely hope that the red team puts up a decent fight in the middle. And that's for our own sake, so that we can kind of see what middle marches JST is kind of using at the moment. Again, this may not be their real strategy, because most solid teams usually go for... Wait, is that a Khan? They usually don't use their main strategy this early in group stage. They kind of want to hide it a bit. So I don't know if that's part of it. Khan, seriously, like I can't imagine JST using a Khan. I think this is a caravan gatherer killing march. That's why it's a Khan. Maybe it's a CC behind that Khan. All right, there's a rally going into the Flavius. Wow, that Flavius is gonna hold on tight for a while before it dies, and all these marches, they're gonna be like half health before they can go to middle, and Red wouldn't have enough time to refresh, and JST has all the marches they need in the middle. JST has all the marches they need in the middle. So Ark has 2.5 minutes left. So Red is not gonna get there in time. So by the time Red gets there, JST will have this area. Red's probably gonna get here with a minute left, and then JST can push in, and then JST can kind of start taking the Ark. So in a way, it's too late to contest middle for Red. So what can Red do then? Red can actually go for the buildings and make up the points they have lost. They're doing a good job in terms of bothering JST with the outpost. So they kind of ran around with one... what's his name again? I don't use him. I forgot his name. One Bertrand. So there's the outpost situation that's kind of going in Red's favor, but other than that, not much. So they got their Shrine of War, they got the Desert Altar, and they're trying to take the Shrine of Life. So let's see how they're going. That's the Jadwiga. So JST, when they took the 2 forward buildings, in both cases they have managed to put proper garrisons, and in one of those buildings they actually had infantry. That's amazing how they managed to do it. Alright, so Red kind of got the buildings. Now, if Red doesn't go middle, keep saying Red. I should probably say the proper name. They deserve that. Atlantis Zoo. I'm going to say Atlantis Zoo, not Red. Atlantis Zoo. Oh my god. So Blue is so confident now they got the middle. They're actually giving up the... Well, not giving up. They're leaving the middle with 1 minute left. JST is definitely going to take the Ark. So now they're coming in and they're going to take over the 2 buildings. So on the left hand side, on the right hand side, they're already rallying Attila and Nevsky against a Flavius in the Shrine of War, and JST has quite a lot of marches coming in. There is quite a lot of reinforcements coming from the red side. Don't say red again, Ladus. From Atlantis Zoo. Atlantis Zoo, that's a weird name to say, but anyways, Atlantis Zoo. And in terms of this building over here, so many red JST marches coming in, so they may be able to swarm it down. Clerical. Is Harold Charles a good pair to use in the field? Charles Harold is definitely a good pair to use in the field. I mean, I kind of don't use it myself, but it's definitely a good pair to use. So I think in a KvK or in a KvK context, I think it's a good pair. I don't think it's a particularly good match for Ark. especially when you're in a losing KvK situation, under pressure and all that. Charles and Harold, Pakal and Harold, they're definitely good marches because of all the counter-attack they do, and that way you get your kills, targets and all that. Now, one of the things that I actually wanted to see is red hard push again from JST. JST using hard push because they didn't need any points for the middle, no skills required, and hard push coming in from Zoo as Atlantis Zoo as well. Now, I wanted to see one of the JST buildings under pressure during the mid-fight to see whether JST has that balance right in terms of how many marches to leave behind to garrison your build, keep your garrisons, not to lose your buildings, and at the same time to see whether they can take middle and Ark as well. We saw OneV doing it perfectly last season. We actually didn't see JST doing it as well when JST was playing against OneV, but otherwise obviously JST was pretty good. So based on what we see now, the first thing that kind of scares me from a JST point of view is how their power is a lot lower than OneV. OneV is sitting at 4.9 billion and JST is sitting at 3.6. Now, a lot of that is to do with power, as in number of troops that you can overcome as long as you're using healing speed ups. But then again, some of it could be to do with the equipment and all that, right? So JST compared to OneV probably doesn't have as good as equipment, and that could be part to do with where that power kind of comes in. So JST about to deliver that Ark, so JST is not, it doesn't look like JST looking at holding the Ark or anything like that. JST has all the buildings, and at the moment they have one extra building, but they're putting 3 of the red buildings under pressure. So Swarm with a rally. So the main rally, actually so far the only rally that I saw from JST is Attila and Nevsky. Is there anything else we're seeing here? No, we're too late because the rally is over, and actually I'm gonna say that's too much presence from red. So in one building you can't put that much emphasis because then you're not putting enough pressure or having enough presence in other areas. Now JST has taken over the Sky Altar from red as well, so all these marches that are at the Shrine of War, rather than being there, half of them could have been over here maybe trying to keep it, but they lost it. Now again, what we want to see is how good is JST in terms of putting a proper garrison in there. Anything else we want to check? Red is putting pressure here in the Shrine of War. Is there a rally? There is a rally that's getting swarmed down. The rally actually did pretty alright. So that garrison is down quite a bit, but they're not gonna get it because of the heavy swarm. Now, one of the things I think JST is doing is they're not playing their main team. I have a feeling that JST is not playing their main team. There's quite a few usual suspects that are missing, so I think JST is giving their backup teams an opportunity because it's early stage and they obviously think they have this under control. So I think it's the 15 backups, they're getting a chance. I would think so. That's actually pretty good. That way everyone's kind of match ready. John Doe has a lot of presence here. We didn't get to see the garrison in that building. We want to see the garrison in this building. Wow, this, like, do you really need a garrison? Look at how many marches JST has here. That's way too many. I mean, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we don't see a rally going there yet. Let's see the Desert Altar, JST Desert Altar. And there's a rally on here, which is Henry and Nebu. And the Jadwiga obviously was good enough to take care of it. Now look at one of the things JST is doing. After JST got the rally down, they're not focusing on the rally. They are coming back to hit these marches that are coming in because the rally is naturally going to die to the garrison. And all the marches that are going in trying to swarm that Desert Altar, they're not going to be successful. So backup team or main team, doesn't matter. JST is definitely doing a good job with this match. So they look ready for Season 6. Okay, so what about the Shrine of Life from Atlantis Zoo? How's JST going about it? JST failed to take this. Actually, there's only one sad march going back. So was that guy soloing this, or that was the last remaining garrison? I don't know. I think that was the guy trying to solo it. Now, JST in the enemy Desert Altar sitting with a Zenobia. That is an achievement. Now, what about the marches coming in? Is there any infantry reinforcements coming in? I see one Guan, I see two Guans. So there are a couple of reinforcements coming in infantry-wise, so they can hold this building for a little bit longer. How long till the Ark? 5 minutes left, so no one's kind of focusing on the Ark yet. And JST again, so I think pretty much a confirmation that the only rally JST is using is Attila and Nevsky. In terms of garrison, in terms of their forward buildings, they are putting a combination of Flavius, a Scipio, and then a Zenobia. I didn't see the secondary, probably a YSS. So even the forward buildings, they are trying to use infantry for garrison when they take it over. But then their buildings, they're using a Jadwiga. So this is kind of odd, right? Like their desert altar, they're using a Jadwiga, but then the enemy desert altar, which is much farther away, they're using infantry. Is that to throw people off? People that are trying to measure up JST from the group stages matches? Maybe. Now JST is killing marches, hitting cities. You know, when people usually does that when they want to refresh because they need to go to middle. So we're about the time when we need people to start going to middle. Because it's about 4 minutes left, right? Yep, 3.5. All right, so we got few JST marches gathering there. Now, sadly for us, I think there's a good chance the red team, as in Atlantis Zoo, is not actually thinking about contesting for the Ark. And again, in terms of this Shrine of War, they got too much presence here, too much presence. I understand the building is important, as in for buffs and all. But even with all that presence, this is, like, really? This is blue now? Somehow one march got in for a sec. Okay, so now that you got the building, you kind of need to either go for middle or you need to pressure the building. So let's see what red does. Now red got a rally going in. That's usually the case when you're trying to get marches in fast for the middle, but then it doesn't look like they're cancelling, so they're actually genuinely rallying the obelisks. Now look at all those JST marches coming in. So as much as they won the first arc easy, they're not taking it easy for the second arc. They're definitely going in. Now in terms of the red team, Atlantis Zoo, they got most of their buildings back apart from one, but they're trying to go for two of the blue buildings. And that's just so there again, their own altars, just using Jadwiga. But then the forward altars, they're putting in infantry. Right. So that Attila is not going to be successful, but then there's quite a few marches coming in. Let's see whether they're successful. Now this is a decent test for JST because they're committing to the middle. We want to see how many backups they kind of keep to secure their buildings are not turning over whilst they're going for middle. And I do see some marches coming in. We got EXO, we got names that I can't read. A lot of people kind of coming in, so I don't see JST losing this building, right? At least if one or two marches can get in. So one march just got in, just couple more marches getting in. Oh, what happened? What? No, for a second the garrison changed to KvK. That's not the case. Back to Jadwiga. Now one more march needs to go in, at least one more march needs to get in, and then the building is safe. So JST is kind of not losing track. Yep, one more march got in, this building is not coming down. Jadwiga can hold that. So JST, whilst committing in the middle, they're doing a decent job in terms of keeping the balance. This building is not coming down either, so JST not losing any of their buildings. They're even keeping their forward buildings. Now if that's the case, that means there should be, oh, that Zenobia. And that Zenobia is probably going to be there for a while because the rally is Attila and Takeda. So guys, this is not Attila and Nevsky. We have gone back in time. It's Attila and Takeda, which means this building is probably not coming down. I mean, it wouldn't have come down, but then with the heavy swarm, maybe. Is there a heavy swarm? There's a decent amount of swarm. Now that Boudica. Oh, that's a Boudica. I was kind of thinking if there's an infantry march going in, but at this stage you kind of want to put in whatever, right? Alright, that building is actually coming down despite this being Attila and Takeda. But then JST kept it for long enough, and because Red is not contesting in the middle, Ark appeared and Luca is just gonna take the Ark, not with that much, I think. Maybe there's like a KvK or something there. Okay, maybe it's Nevsky, but either way, it's not contested, so they can take that. So all those marches from the middle, they're gonna come in. So both teams using hard push. So this is the trend we saw in the earlier matches as well. Hard push is somewhat prioritized over middle skills. So a lot of hard pushes throughout the match rather than actually going for middle skills. All right, now you know what JST is doing. JST has a marker there so that people doesn't start swarming the building one by one, so that JST can form a ball just like the middle. Surely they have a marker here where all of the guys are going, so that you get the red marches to come to you, so that they're the ones making the move which way. I guess they get a little bit disoriented, and then when you have all the marches from middle here, finally then you push for the building. That way you have a better chance of taking the building. So JST, again, a little bit of a strategy that we can see happening here, because normally from the middle everyone comes and swarms. So they didn't come and swarm, they met at a place, they got red to engage first, and they're kind of taking care of it. That's like a mid-fight taking over. Is there any other building that's under pressure? So JST forward building, again you got a Atlantis Zoo Sky Altar defended by a Zenobia from JST. And JST have a lot of presence there. Red's gonna struggle to take this march, and I don't see a rally at the moment. Maybe they're doing a rally, but at the moment there is no rally. So that building stays JST for a very long time. So JST is keeping the enemy buildings for a very long time, roughly double the points per minute as well. Now what else do we want to check? Now JST, I think they're going for a keep the Ark play. Otherwise they could have just put it in the outpost, and they could have put it in the Shrine of War as well, but it looks like they're actually going for in between the cities, which means they don't plan to deliver the Ark straight away. The heavy swarm with all those marches from the middle and all those marches coming from the starting zone, all of them from JST combining and taking over. Now garrison wise they got a Mehmet. Wow, actually someone's using a Mehmet primary. Now that wasn't a rally, because sometimes you use commanders to join rallies which has extra capacity, but then there wasn't a rally, so the Mehmet came alone there. But doesn't matter, now it's a Zenobia again. So again, that building stays for a while. Now obviously JST is prioritizing the altars, because the altars give you more per minute points. So as you can see from here, 150 points per minute and 80 minutes from the shrines. That's why JST is going for the altars more than the shrines. But then after they take the altar, when they kind of know that they have the proper garrison, and not just the garrison, they actually got a backup sitting there as well. So they're keeping that building for a while, and this is where they know that they can afford to kind of go in and go for the Shrine of Life. Now Shrine of Life, JST, Attila and Nevsky. Along with that you got a lot of swarming, so that Flavius and CPO is not going to hold it for too long. Now I do see the animation, the green animation that you get with Tommy. So they are using Boudica and Tommy. Now this is not the first time we are seeing it. We kind of wanted to analyze the marches when we were in the middle. War drums being used. Where is war drum being used? Here. Okay. Where? Here. You used war drums here. Alright, so Atlantis Zoo randomly used I'm gonna say randomly because it's like in no man's place. But anyways, what I was going to say is we wanted to analyze the marches a little bit, which we didn't, because usually you want to analyze the marches when people are doing a middle fight. But then there's nothing exceptional. You kind of see the typical marches that you see. And even if JST has a special kind of pair they want to use, they're not going to use it like now, this early. They're probably going to use it later. Now, finally, we got a Pinky rally, JC Pinky rallying the Desert Altar. Now, JC Pinky last time did a Attila and Takeda. Is it going to be Attila and Takeda again? Probably is. Because you'll have the march saved, and if you had a Nevsky, you'd be using the Nevsky already, right? So let's see if it's a Takeda. It is a Takeda. Now that is gonna go down very fast because there's a Zenobia there. Zenobia and YSS. Now they're gonna leave that rally again because the rally is gonna die itself. And ooh, for the first time, one of the JST building turning red. But then they're gonna take it over pretty soon. So an XY managed to take it. We got a Gilgamesh and Nebu rally. So that's a backup rally leader, I guess, because they're not using Henry. And they took the building back. All right. And JST is holding the Ark. I don't think JST had to hold. Obviously, JST didn't need to hold the Ark. They could have, kind of deposited and gone for it. But they're trying to stick to plan in terms of whatever they wanted to try. Getting their timing and everything right. So this is not necessarily about just getting the highest points for JST. This is not just about winning. This is also making sure they get their strategy down pat. And they're pretty good at it. So this match wasn't necessarily meant to be interesting from a competitive point of view. This was more about seeing where JST stands, and I think we got a good feel of it. So what we can do now is we can try and go check out the 1v match. And now we're going to take a risk. This is a risk because JST 1v, I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people, whether streaming or not, people would like to watch the matches. So if we leave, I don't know whether we can get into the 1v match, but it feels like it's worth the risk, right? Okay, so we're gonna watch this rally XY and see whether JST can hold it. There's quite a few red marches around, and then after that we're gonna check out the 1v match. Zenobia and who do we have? Zenobia and YSS. So they're not going for Zenobia and Flavius. JST is generally going for Zenobia and YSS. Akmal, JST looking solid. Yes, brother, JST is definitely looking solid. Me being a big JST fan, I was kind of worried looking at JST's power, as in, why does their power look so much less than 1v? But then less power or not, they're kind of doing a decent job. So to the death being used, again not for middle, they're using to the death to get their own building back. Not just to the death, at the same place Atlantis Zoo is using mystical formation as well. So they're trying to do a heavy push to get their desert altar back. I mean, this is not a bad play because JST is holding the Ark. But then now that they use the skills, JST is now probably going to, how long is left before they have to do the Ark? Okay, 6 minutes left. In 6 minutes time, I don't think red is gonna have enough time. Now if JST really cared, they would have deposited the Ark already, just because they have the points and they can start assembling in the middle again. That wouldn't be a bad strategy because your opponents just used up all the skills. Now, with a lot of effort, red, with using a lot of skills, red took that desert altar, but then they, like the last two garrisons that I saw, didn't look that good. On JST splitting players with JG as well? Yes, so JST is splitting players with JG, and they're splitting some players with BLN as well. So as much as the Kingdom has a better chance of getting up to good spots within the league, like in a way I kind of felt that JST being overpowered would have been a better option, because otherwise if you have 3 decent teams, it's not like you're gonna take 1v down. To take 1v down, you need one solid team, right? So that's probably happened. Now Red is doing a decent job in terms of taking over some of the buildings. Can they take it over? They probably can't. Actually, they can't. Hey, get in. Someone get in. Guan, get in the building. Anyways, they're not taking this. Alright guys, so we kind of had a good feel of how JST is, and I have to say it's very strong based on everything that we just saw. So we're gonna take the risk and quit the game, and we're gonna try to check out the 1v game. I don't know whether we can get in for sure. 1v was oh, actually let's check the scores. Is there anything very interesting? No, there's nothing that's very interesting. Alright, let's go to 21. Division 21, and that's where you got 1v. Oh my god. Now, this is definitely not worth watching. This is definitely not worth watching. Who do you think could match up with 1v in that realm? No one. Actually, I don't think anyone can. So every single building is 1v. Let's see if how many 20 people. What? Is 1v doing like that rotation thing? 1v is probably doing that. What 1v has 20 people playing, and the other team has 21. Like, I don't understand the 20 from 1v unless they're doing that swap thing where if you get 10k, then you go out and someone comes in and it doesn't show it here, maybe, or they're gonna make it to 15. What we want to see is the 1v marches. I don't think we're gonna see any fighting here, right? There's not gonna be any fighting. Now it's like just a bit of a mop-up of whatever city is left over from the red team. Fearless Warriors. Fearless Warriors, they had 2.8 billion power. With 2.8 billion power, I understand you can't win, but then why have you got 22 people? Why not like a full team, man? I don't think there's much to watch here. So let's go out of this match. And let's see if there's anything that's kind of worth watching. Now, I still feel good about the stream that we had, or we are having, because we did get to talk about JST a little bit in terms of how they're going. And so we did get to talk about some of the strategies they're using, try to, learn a little bit from them. It looks like they're very organized. Obviously, 1v is a lot more organized based on the points, it looks like. No, why am I at recommended? I'm meant to be Division 3. Nah, none of the matches are close. Maybe we'll go back to the JST match and see how that's going, I guess. Is JST like all over the place now? Ooh. I mean, woo, not ooh. So that was meant to be a ooh. We got a woo. So JST, someone actually using a woo. The silent one. Hello from 2120. Hey man, good to have you here. 2120. So is that part of the plan? JST actually has someone who is meant to go there with a woo, or is that like, now that we won, let's see whatever we can do. And we got the red people kind of trying to push in here. All right, guys. Now, because we have been streaming throughout the day, the first match was half an hour. After half an hour, we didn't have like much to talk about it. The second matches, we had a bit more of a competition, so we talked about it. In terms of this last match, we just wanted to talk about the JST strategy a little bit, as in not talk about, get to see the JST strategy a little bit. I think based on the commentary that we had, you guys had a good idea about what JST was doing and have a feel of how strong JST is. Now the rest of the match is going to be pretty uninteresting, so I'm not gonna make you stay here and watch an uninteresting match. Luckily for us today, we managed to get into all the matches and there were not a lot of viewers. So even with the 200 people limit thing, we still managed to get in. I don't know whether that's going to be the case after the group stages, but at least for the group stages next week, we are going to cover at least 3 matches again. And I will kind of end the stream here, and we're going to get ready for our match at 15 UTC. I can't stream it because of strategy and all that. But then if you're free, then definitely drop by and check that directly, or if anyone is streaming, drop by and check us play. We got Legend Ronnie, we got Fo, we got Baba Ataturk, and we got the LADUS account there as well in VC56. So that's at 15 UTC. So for now, thank you everyone for being here and keeping the chat lively. And I'm going to see you guys again definitely next Sunday, but I will try to do at least a couple more streams in between as well, depending on how the KvK is going in 1556. So I think we get to land on the KvK map Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday I think. So we may do a stream on Tuesday. So we're doing the power up KvK. With the power up KvK, there's all those new mechanics, so we get to try it out. So definitely whichever day we get to land on the map, I'll do a stream that day so that we can kind of talk about the new formations and whatever it's called. So Akmal, bye and good luck. Thanks, man. All right then, everyone, thank you for being here, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done it already, because we want to get as many subscribers as possible so that we can force Lilith to whitelist us, so that not just the group stage, we can try to cover matches later on in Osiris League as well. I hope you like the commentary, and I hope to see you next week again. Bye for now.